Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm Brian Johnson. And another decent day for the bulls. We actually ended up for the day, and we ended up right into right around that overhead resistance area. So the bulls are trying to make a move here. I want to show you. See this consolidation right down here? Shows you a lot of indecision. The break was to the upside. The bulls did carry it ever so slightly the last couple days upwards. But I'm going to show you on the bigger charts what we're struggling with. 50-day moving averages. So you can see 12,436, 12,441. We did finish just above that 50-day moving average, but the strength is just not there yet. You know what? Going into the weekend, remember it is a 3-day weekend. We will not be trading on Monday. At least the markets will not be open on Monday. But keep this in mind, okay? I can build you a bear case, I can build you a bull case. And I've got good stories. I've got good strength for both of them. I would tell you not to get one way or the other. You're going to have a lot of pundits on the web that are going to be bearish, they're going to be bullish, but I'm telling you, don't fall for it. A lot of times, biases are built on positions. If they're bullish in the markets, or if they're bullish in their positions, they'll be bullish on the markets. If they're bearish in their positions, they're bearish on the markets. That's not an unbiased look at what we're seeing. What we've got here is a nice big bull flag. Still nothing really broken quite yet from the bull side. The bear side is it's been able to bring it down, keep it down, more importantly, keep it right at around below this 50-day moving average. So that has been good for the bears. I really would warn you, just really caution you, coming into next week to not get overzealous one way or the other on this market. Let it break. Let it make its moves. The idea here is to always, always, always protect your capital. You want to be careful with your money. Once you lose it, you're out of the game and that's it. So it's very important you learn how to protect that capital that you have. So move to the downside. Overall for the week, where did we go? Nowhere. The bulls were not able to really get any kind of strength whatsoever, which is unusual because they usually find a way. They just find a way to get this market back up and above certain areas. Just couldn't do it this week. 1, 2, 3, 4 with Monday, the big move down, and just can't seem to find the strength to move it back up again. This is the theme here on most of the charts. NASDAQ 60 did the same thing. We broke this overhead here, came back up, moved back, sitting very nicely on some support right here, but bigger picture from the daily, not even at the 50-day moving average. That'll be the big story of next week. Try to recapture those areas. Here we are on a weekly, and you can see us holding very nicely to this lower end. Where does it finish? Right at just above the 20-week moving averages. Every time we get below it, the bulls bring it back up. We get below it, back up. Below it, back up. Technically, we made it by what? A sneeze, but it is above the 20. It just is what it is. It's above the 20-week moving average. And keep in mind when we start next week, obviously this line will be up and the markets will start wherever they start, and we'll have to work at it again. But you can see that the bulls do not want to lose that area. SPX 60-minute, right back to our overhead line, which I drew in for you on Wednesday. Perfect overhead resistance. We broke this area here right around the 1322-ish mark, ran up into perfect overhead resistance, and now pulling back. Now, this looks still pretty decent from a bull standpoint. We can maybe count this Elliott wave-wise as a 1, 2, 3. This could be 4 with a 5 yet to come. Very, very possible. However, point being, bigger charts, daily charts, still wandering into these overhead areas. SPX did a very nice job. One of the more strong charts where it was able to actually get up and close above, distinctly above, the 50-day moving average. There's a couple other indices that have, one other indice that has done this that I'm covering with my subscribers, but this one here clearly able to do this, get up and above that 50-day moving average. That's big. That's a good start for the bulls. Will the rest of the markets follow? Now we're not going to know till next week, but yet again, still in a big bull flag, still not seeing any real strength from the bulls. So I can build you a bull case, I can build you a bear case. I'm really about as neutral as I can be right in through here. I would hope that you guys took profits or are going to be extremely careful with your positions coming into next week. I only held, we had man, we had a killer week in the subscribers newsletter when it came to trades. So I did hold a few things over the weekend, but overall in the indices, I'm flat. I'm not doing anything with the indices stuff. It was very, 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 very muted. Even the internals today just not showing anything. The internals most of the week not showing anything. So the move up's been great, but we haven't really seen anything confirming this so far. So as of yet, just a giant bull flag. We'll talk about some marks coming into next week and things to look at in what will probably end up being either a Tuesday or a Wednesday video. We'll just wait and see. On the VIX, back down into the 16 mark, 15 mark. These are these lower areas where it's really nice to start looking for some trades or some option plays coming into next week. That's what I would recommend you guys do for those of you that like to play options. Notice where we went from 20 straight down to 16, even as low as 15. This is just complacency, complacency, complacency. The world is a good place if you're in the options market right now. There's no fear coming in quite yet. So until we see the spikes up into this area, I'm not worried about it. Just another week of complacency within the options market. Apple, same thing, up $2.41 today, but you can see the perfect bounce we had off of this about a week back. We're at the beginning of the week, and here we go, running it up. Because this be a 1, 2, 3, working on a 4 with now a 5 yet to come. This is my overhead area, that 340. Apple really hasn't given me much to work off of. I'm truly not interested in it until we get back above these moving averages, maybe back below 330. So for those of you that are Apple bulls and you like to invest in Apple, I tell you to be very cautious in through here. Apple hasn't shown its hand yet either. I like the pullback. I like the way it's wandering its way down here. It's good for the bulls, but still, just not any strength coming about in Apple for the time being. I really thought it might try to recapture this 20-week moving average, and no chance. It went nowhere. It was up $2 for the week. Woohoo! Really not that big of a move. So we didn't see a whole lot by the end of it. Now we did gap down to start the week at 330, so we did have a $7 run. Maybe you guys played it from a daily basis. Yeah, some good trading days in through there if you're a day trader. But overall, finishing up only $2 for the week, really, that's a sneeze for Apple. It's not really that big of a deal. Watch for it to try to reclaim this 20-week moving average. That'll be huge coming into next week. FAS 60-minute showing us a little bit of a bounce up. Let's go right to the daily, and let me show you this. Came down into these lower areas and was able to recapture some of this overhead area. I've got some good new lines I can draw in. Those will be in for next week's video. But you can see staying within this area here. Are we going to make it back to the 20? Yeah, I think there's a good potential there. We stopped right at good overhead resistance though. And here was the big deal. We recaptured the 200-day moving average. That was big. We had a move to it, a break below it, a close below it, another close below it, but then the bulls were able to kind of recapture that. So the financials struggling, but struggling in a very, very, how you want to say, a very, very defined way right now. Here's the FAZ, which I really, really like. I really like the chart. I think it's very clean. I think it's very clear. Financials are still in a bit of worry down here, but you can see where we're at now. This could be huge here, and that is back to the bottom side of this channel. Look how well it's holding. Hope you had these lines drawn in, because this could make things very, very simple for you in your trading. Right back down to hold this lower support, just basically perfectly here on the lower line itself. Now next week we'll be looking for breaks back below here, so below that 43 mark. Okay, now maybe you're going to get another entry in FAZ, and this one's to the short side. Then look for it to hit and bounce, or at least stop for a while at the 20. That'll be your trade next week. That's what I'd be looking for. But look how well this channel is holding. Just a beautiful looking formation really right now. Really, really like it. So beautiful bounce off the top here. I called out the top back around 46. Actually, we called it here at this. I said it might have a little bit more to go. It did. Stopped, turned around. Textbook TA. This isn't that difficult to do. If you just know what to look for, if you know what to look for and how to identify this, you can do this yourself too. I'm telling you, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to do it, but you do need a good, proper education to understand how to draw your lines and where to put them, and then the reasons why you do what you do give you the confidence that you need to make the trades that you need to make. It's just strong foundations, profitable trading through strong foundations, and that leads to a much more confident trader. So Just can't even stress that enough. So here we are, bouncing right off the top of this line, moving ourselves back down, looking to hit this 20-day moving average, and that would be my target for it early next week. It'll be interesting to see where we open on Tuesday, because things are still going to move around on Monday. Even though the markets aren't open, doesn't mean things don't happen. The rest of the world doesn't close because we're closed. So there could be some gap one way or the other, up or down, coming into Tuesday's trading. That will make for a very curious start to the week. It's always why it's hard to get started after a 3-day weekend. It's just very difficult to get your footing. So I'd be very, just watch where we open on Tuesday. If we gap down into this area, forget it. Forget the trade, just leave it alone. If we can get this thing to open about flat on Tuesday, then you have an opportunity to maybe make a run at it below that 43 mark. All right, so that covers the markets. I'm going to go over a little bit and put these on my charts next week, but let me show you what we did this week in the subscribers newsletter. CF was above 144.50 and or 145, your pick. This one turned out beautifully. We're up 10 bucks in that trade already. Let's see, for the week, yeah, so we pulled what? I'll guess 6-7% out of that. Could be more, could be a little less, but that's a good average. 6-7% for the week out of that particular trade. When the markets are making 8 to 10% a year, to pull 6-7-8% a week, it's not a bad return on your money. This is an excellent return on your money for 28 bucks a month. So, and I don't make this stuff up. You guys can see the newsletter for yourself. You can see what I did, what I called. There's no point in me lying to you. I would be completely disingenuous of me to just make this stuff up. TNH is another one that we took. That one was over 118. We got a beautiful entry on this one with a gap down on Monday and then a run up and through that 118 mark, which was my trade for everybody. That one's up 6 bucks already. This one was up over 5%. We got a good, 3 to 5% out of this whole thing by the end of the week. That one turned out very, very well. Gold, we took a long in gold this week, and we made money on that. Here were 3 that did not work out for us. They were great trades with fantastic entries, and we just could not. We just didn't get the entries, and sometimes that happens. UNH was one. We tried to take a short on this, but we didn't get the break we wanted to the short side because it gapped down on Monday. So some people did take this trade, but most people didn't. So it was kind of a dead trade. It was a great trade. We just didn't get the break we were looking for. VZ was another one that gapped down on Monday and kind of took us out of that trade. We didn't get a chance to trade that one. WCRX was another great trade. However, it gapped down on Monday. Some people took it below the 20. They still made a little bit of money on it. But overall, not one that most of us took. I'm just showing you that I do have trades on here, and they work out beautifully. They do exactly what I want them to do, except the entry isn't what I want them to be. And I'm very anal about that with my subscribers. I want it to do certain things and it did not do what I wanted it to do. So good trades, didn't work out. One of my subscribers then sent this to me to kind of fill in, and that was SSCC, and our trade was up over $40.30 and or $40.50, your choice. You see that one made money by the end of the week. So that one turned out very, very well too. GIB was the only one that we lost money / broke even on. This was a trade short at the beginning of the week below $20.80. Some people got in, some people didn't. It didn't make it that much below $20.80, but for those that did get into the short side, we were out on the reversal the next couple of days. We were out of that trade. Then we got in above $22, which was the trade, and made a little bit on it by the end of the week. So we lost a little bit down here, made a little bit back. Overall, I think we lost a little bit on this trade when the math was all figured out. So it was about 40 cents or so on that. I think I had a 50-cent stop on that one. This one made about 25. So we lost about 20-30 cents on that. So it was the only loser of the week. All the rest of them turned out just phenomenal for us. TNH was up over 118. CF over 145, the more conservative entry. Gold was up for us. SSCC, thank you, Andre, for that one. Turned out extremely well. So, does it work like this every week? No. I'd be lying if I told you it did, but feel free to go back to my Monday videos and you'll see how consistent we've been on the subscribers list. And for 28 bucks a month, it's well worth your money. It's like a buck a day. to potentially have this kind of information at your fingertips. I do all the work. I find the trades for you. I give you entries. I give you speculative entries, and then I give you conservative entries. I give you stops once we're in. I give you ideas on whether to hold, not to hold, how to play it, all kinds of stuff, plus a ton of lines and lots more in-depth information on all of the indices, including oil and gold and the dollar, and I cover the Russells and of course the major indices, and then I put on these trades during the course of the week. So anyway, well worth your time, well worth your money. I will be back with you guys again next week. Any questions, feel free to always email me and stuff. I have zero problem with that. So I have a 3-day weekend. I'll have some extra time on my hands, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Bye.